hello. Welcome to Dear PB, a podcast where we hopefully help you become a better speedrunner, but probably won't. We're back. It's been a bit, but we're
Hello,
back. I'm Corvin Maybe you can call me May, or she, or her.
I'm Swiss. You can call me SWC, or he, or they.
And joining us from this bit where I say where the game that the runners the guest is playing is located doesn't work anymore because we don't have the guest playing games anymore, it's Pessilist.
Hello.
It's a location that really rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, that's put that in your Twitter bio.
Yeah.
I
Location
mean,
that the bit
that
that doesn't work anymore.
that wouldn't be that far off from my current Twitter bio, honestly.
I want to wait. Hold on. What is your current Twitter location?
It is my current bio is a Marvel's Yakuza Dragon Kingdom Speedrunner Unleashed.
Ooh.
I love that series. Honestly, that easily could just be a Kingdom Hearts title, and it could easily be a Marvel thing.
And it could easily be a Yakuza thing, so it works.
Yeah, exactly. That's my favorite sub story is Dragon Kingdom Speedrunner Unleashed.
Of course.
That's the one where the little kid's being a speedrunner, and the Kiryu's like, "I'm going to take all your world records," right?
No. It's see that's I think that's the opposite of how it would go in an actual Yakuza game.
Probably.
I think how it would go is like some kid got a world record and like and Kiryu is like, "Wow, congrats, that's awesome, kid." And he's walking somewhere else, and then he overhears some older kids planning to like break the kid's controller so he can't compete anymore, and then Kiryu has to beat him up.
That checks out from my
Yeah,
limited
that
understanding.
sounds something like that.
Yeah. How's it going?
Hello.
It's going good, It's like a fun week last week.
Yeah, we're fresh off of the heels. Fresh off the heels, right?
I think that's the phrase.
I
Yeah.
think that's a phrase. Of awesome games done quick 2023. Maybe you heard of it. It's this little indie upshot marathon. I don't know. I think it has potential.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll make some progress soon.
Yeah, could be good.
And 2/3 of the podcast were involved in some way.
I would never.
Swoos would never. Swoos is actually boycotting being involved, not the event itself, but specifically being involved.
Yeah, it's not the event. It's the work aspect of it. But I would never do.
I respect that. If you did not catch the Miles Morales run at AGDQ, you should go check out the VOD because it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm glad. Seems like most people seem to enjoy it, so happy of how it turned out.
If you're missing the context, Pess ran it and I was on couch.
Whoa.
Wow.
I wasn't there because I boycotted it.
Yeah.
I did not actually.
Again, I understand. I would also boycott work if
Commentary is work.
So I guess I wouldn't because I didn't. So I have nothing to go off here.
I mean, May sorta boycotted some work because she hadn't played the game before. I still asked her to be on.
Isn't it only on PlayStation 5?
It's on PC now.
And PC.
Oh, it's on PC now? Okay,
yeah, they put it on PC a couple months ago, I think.
I should probably play
December they put it on.
Yeah.
Sony, I'm like still not used to Sony actually releasing games on the personal computer. It remains really weird to me.
Yeah, it won the Steam award for visual style, and I was looking through the winners, and I was like, oh yeah, that's on PC now.
I should play it. Is it
$70
though?
It's $50.
Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went on sale during the winter thing for 40 something, I think.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's really wacky being a speedrunner of Sony stuff, and they're putting stuff on PC, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this information?
Now you can have load removers, oh boy.
Yeah. And load removers, I guess, except PS5s load so freaking quick that they're faster than 90% of PCs anyway. It's very weird.
As a person who runs a lot of Switch games, I cannot relate.
Shoutouts to the company that made the CPU for the PS5. Woo.
Yo, yeah, what's that company?
I don't know.
ARM.
Smile. I did this. Anyways,
Every PS5, every time you boot up your
I
PS5,
yeah.
you should know that Spooks put a little bit of love in it, and that's what makes it taste that's what makes it taste delicious.
How often are you eating your PS5?
Don't question me. All right, so
Understandable.
Pess, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about your past and the sort of through the timeline of starting speedrunning to having to answer my stupid Spider-Man trivia on GDQ.
uh, Uh, yeah. So I heard about speedrunning undergraduate school and college. My roommate, I forget the context of the conversation, but I know we were talking about Kingdom Hearts in some capacity, and he was saying something along the lines of like, "Hey, if you ever seen like speedruns of this, like people like play this game at an incredibly high level," and I'm like, "No, what the heck that's about?" And he explained like games done quick and like showed me a Kingdom Hearts 2. It was, I want to say it was 2015. It was the relay with Biscuits, Bloody, Riz, like all those guys. Where did a relay race, and I pretty much instantly got hooked off of that. I started like I created a Twitch account, started watching a bunch of Kingdom Hearts speedrun stuff. Eventually said screw it, started doing some of it myself. Got really into Birth by Sleep, which is the PSP game for people who do not know Kingdom Hearts. Ran that thoroughly for a couple years. Saw and until I got kind of bored of that, and I saw J Hobbs was going really hard on Marvel Spider-Man, the Insomniac game. It was like a year after its release, some new DLC had come out, and he was going really hard on the ultimate difficulty, the hardest difficulty of the game in this DLC, and it was like a 30-minute speed run, like really difficult, so like using every single gadget the game has to offer. It was like never seen the game played like that. It's like, this is really cool. I want to learn this, and I did because DLCs for the Insomniac games are great. I literally learned one of them in an afternoon. It took like I started learning at like 1. I finished a run at like 5. It was ridiculous. It's that easy to learn, and yeah, I started doing it, and it was a heck of a lot of fun, and I just kept doing it. You know, went on with the PS5 release, with the Miles release, with all that fun stuff, and yeah, that somehow ended me up at GDQ. I'm still amazed they accepted Miles, to be honest with you, and they ended up asking you to help with the memes because if you didn't watch it, there was a lot of time to kill in that run,
I
and
love a
now I'm
cutscene.
here. Yeah, it
Who
was a
doesn't?
good movie.
So I didn't realize this was Hobbs's fault.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep, it is entirely Hobbs' fault. Him and Rio Piece, if anyone knows him, were going really hard together in PS4,
So I
and
feel like
yeah,
of the people I
and
know, you and Hobbs have the most like scattered library, a repertoire.
possibly. My goal is to get an even more scattered repertoire. I want to try to branch out into more types of stuff, but yeah, no, Hobbs really like he got me into it. I feel like he really laid the groundworks of what like a Spider-Man at GDQ thing is, because he got Turf Wars into the GDQX, like the
Hmm.
Express thing they did at
Oh
TwitchCon a
yeah.
couple times. He got it in off of that, and the next like a couple main events later, they accepted my heist run, and so he kind of like laid the foundation that I've kind of been running with at that point, and am incredibly honored to be able to do it. It's like, you know, it's one of those things where you get into the hobby through something like Games Done Quick, and you're like, wow, it'd be really awesome if I could ever, you know, be a part of that sort of thing. And then like you're able to do it once, and that's amazing. And then if you're able to come back again, you're like, you know, it doesn't really get like the experience is to me the same every time. Like it's just, you know, being able to be a part of this thing that helped to get me into this hobby and connect me with a bunch of cool people and get be able to drive money to charity while we do it. Like, it's a great experience. Like, even the miles run, like 50 minutes of downtime, I had so much fun being a charity driver for 50 minutes straight. So come on, we have a portal run to get to. Like, let's get these donations, and well, that's what we're here for. Like, it's special. It really is.
It's interesting because people always like I always see people complaining about like the charity drive aspect of GDQ, and I'm like, y'all, that's
That's the
kind of the
point.
point.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, honestly, I thought about it, and this miles run wasn't my best marathon run by any means. I think my best one was when I did the Silver Lining DLC of the first game in 21. It's like, I think that was a really good run, but I think this one was honestly the one I was most proud of, because I felt like the games committee was very deliberate on them accepting the run, them putting this run of a lot of downtime right before like one of their first big bonus games, and are very I felt like I was being given a role of, okay, we have a lot of free time, we have like a thing to incentivize, like getting the donation drive going. Like, yeah, let's do it. Let's lean all the way into it. Let's have some fun and raise some money for a cause. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. We did our job really well.
Yep.
So I was
Yep.
very proud of how that went.
I wrote a bunch of Spider-Man trivia, and we didn't use a lot of it, and that's totally fine, because better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So, and maybe
Yep.
it'll come up in the future anyways.
Interesting.
And it was very helpful just to have the other option of something to go to, because I understand people's frustration with the charity drive aspect. So if you're like, from the runner perspective, you really want to be there showcasing like this thing you put all these hours into, and like I get that. I really do. Miles is a weird case, because Miles is just a really simple speed run to explain. It's one of those speed runs that you could pick up in an afternoon pretty easily. Cutscenes aside, there's about 90 minutes of actual gameplay. The general strategies and things you want to do are pretty simple, and you can explain it all. Like, couple sentences, like, this is more or less what I'm going to do, and beyond that, like, the technicalities are all minor precision things of, oh, it's positioning here and doing this in this kind of order, and like some of these fights are pretty routed out. I want to do this and that and the other, and then some of these I'm just making crap up as I go. I have some idea what I want to do and wing the thing. So when you have a run that's that long and that difficult to kind of explain in detail, it made more sense to me to try to just lean into the entertainment aspect and charity drive aspect than you try to go into the deep intricacies of, oh, I improved in this exact moment because this guy was in this position, so I moved like 10 pixels to the right. Like, that seems far less engaging, and took away from the point of, hey, we have a really great opportunity just based on the cards we were given here to really push for charity here. And I think we raised like 40K or something in that couple hour run. And, that's awesome. Like, that's what we're all here for. I was very happy to lean into that, and I was very happy to have some other thing with May's questions to lean into of, hey, we've kind of explained things, and the donation, it's like, may or may not be coming super quickly, and or our host, like, it's not fair to our host to have them talking for 2 hours. So it's good to be able to have like back and forth of, okay, let's give our host a break here. Let's do like let's meme a little bit. Let's do something on the side. Like, feel like that's important if you want to keep things interesting for a couple hours.
Yeah, because I get the sort of like the frustration where you are kind of having to push an incentive for the thing that is coming up, and so the run becomes less about what is currently being run and more about what's coming soon. I understand the frustration of that. But I see people being like, they should never read donations, and I'm like, no, hearing people's donations is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Like,
that's. I mean, that's the point of the thing.
yeah.
Honestly, it's like I feel like people underestimate how much the charity aspect of GDQ is what drives people to the event
Hmm.
and what has kind of made it this big thing because part of it when I was just a new speedrunner kind of submitting things to GDQ, like part of it was of course there's something sort of prestigious about this and the fact that so many speedrunners get to do it and you want to show off your skill and yada yada, sure. But if you're doing something out of GDQ, you're not going up there to get world record on the stage.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
if you
Yeah.
do, great, but that's not the goal. You're going up there to have some fun and to, help drive money to the charity. And I feel like, I mean, that's the part that really got me interested in the first place. And I think GDQ, Doctors Without Borders and Prevent Cancer Foundations are great charities from everything I have read and seen about the both of them. And it's great to be a part of driving money to them in some way.
Yeah. Plus, like, there are downstream effects of it. Like, even if you're like, well, I want to, like, even if you don't feel like you're like, oh well, it's not about it's the speedrunning aspect is not as big as the charity aspect, which, like, yeah, that's fair. Um, there's still downstream effects of like, hey, if you're on GDQ, more people know about you, and then that helps the whole scene in general because the more eyes that are on, like, speedrunning blew up largely because of this event. So,
Right,
Yeah.
and now people are like
right.
doing it full time, and that's very cool.
That's very cool. And I think people do underestimate the relationship where GDQs kind of become, more of a mainstream thing, while
Hmm.
speedrunning is, as a whole, isn't quite. So, so GDQ is like, there's a different audience for the most part of people who watch a mainline GDQ versus people who will come watch speedruns, outside of that and random like PB attempts or whatnot. Like, they're two different things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
Because I
think
mean, like, oh god,
now you go.
um, like modern day like speedrun popularity, a lot of it has come from like summoning salt. So like
Hmm.
people just expect world records to happen all the time because they've seen so many world record progressions. It's like, oh, you should just be getting world record. So then
But
you have an
Hmm.
event like GDQ where the focus is not to get world record, and it's like, wow, this sucks. They're not the best in the world. I hate this.
Yeah.
then
So
3 days
it's
later, at AGDQ 2023 happened. They got on this run.
Hmm. Hey,
yeah,
there were like 3 or 4 world records, weren't there?
There were a lot this time.
there were a
Yeah,
handful. Yeah,
I
Galaxy
mean,
2 getting a world record on GDQ is actually wild because
yeah,
that is
that
yeah,
like
is
that's a
that's
lot
a
of
hard
people
game.
running the Mario. So
Right.
shout outs to the people who can put those runs together in that environment. Like that's
And it was a race, and they were commentating. I could never.
yeah.
yeah,
Well, the runners weren't commentating. I don't believe
And there was commentary. I could
there
never.
was commentary. Yeah,
yeah. Well, it is a different environment, like to prepare for and get your mindset like set up. Like I've done a
yeah,
handful of GDQ runs, and you never quite it.
yeah,
Never it gets easier, but you never quite like get into it. It's a different thing. Like it doesn't feel the same at all as just sitting down and doing runs. Because
yeah. Which
most of my speed games, I sit down to do runs. I'm resetting in the first 5 minutes for
yeah,
2 hours. That's the nature of half the games I run. It's a very different thing to sit down and be like, okay, much bigger audience. Like we're here for a cause, for a thing. Like I need to be more of an entertainer than a speedrunner in this instance. I will constantly throw like PB runs away in marathons to try for the entertainer aspect of it. Like
oh
my
yeah, for
mile,
sure.
yeah.
my miles run. What may you remember when my commentators was telling me, "Hey, like go intentionally fail this mission real quick. This is funny."
That was
yeah,
funny. That was
if
funny.
you can go for a swag strat, you should go for a swag strat or a funny sequence or whatever. Like, who
Yeah,
cares at that point?
assuming it's not
And
gonna
yeah,
like destroy your estimate.
Yeah,
because like as somebody like because all these things also get like double complicated when if you're involved in production at all or have been involved in production at all for any events, because then there's like a whole nother layer of things to think about, like donation pace and
Right.
scheduling
Right.
and um audio stuff, and like that all compounds on it too, where like even though I have not done any runs at a main line, I've done runs for FF and for a number of runs for FF where the same sort of things apply, just on a smaller scale. um Even on
Right.
commentary, I'm thinking about like donation pace and how long has it been since we've thrown to the host, because if the host isn't talking, then people aren't donating, because they like people want to hear
Right.
their stuff get read, and it reminds them to donate and things like that. And like do we have any sort of call to action that we can do to get people to donate, things like that. And it's a very complicated thing. It's weird because like there's like a high level, like there's levels of like you have to be like a certain level of speedrunner to get into GDQ, right? And
Hmm.
then there's like a level of commentary like of understanding of commentary too, in terms of both for as an entertainer, and in terms of driving donations, and in terms of explaining actually what's going on in a way that is like digestible to average people. And like
Right.
there's not that many people who are good at all of them.
Yeah,
No,
it
and
is very difficult.
no, it's very difficult, and it's important, I think, to have the right type of people around you for the right type of like vibe, and who can kind of
Agreed.
make up for certain things. Like the Miles run, I was focused on. I need a group of memers here that I
Yeah.
know can help me meme around for because that's like what the entertainment factor of what this means. There's too much downtime. It's too simple of a game to explain like on paper without getting into the weeds. Which I know some commentators like getting into the weeds. I don't
Yeah,
honestly
same.
on commentary for the
Well,
Yeah,
most part. So
it
a
like
lot
in
of a lot
Kingdom
of games don't
Hearts,
warrant it.
yeah, like in Kingdom Hearts runs, like some strats are intricate enough that I'll be like, and here's the combo we do. We do like Blizzard Sleep, Bear Sleep, whatever, and you like list it off. But that's usually as much depth as anyone really needs to
Mhm.
kind of understand
yeah,
what's sort of
as
happening and get a sense of the skill
Right.
involved.
in
But
Pokemon, I like to go into a little bit of depth just because like most people are like somewhat aware that it is a game that is deeper than they think it is, but the average person has not really engaged in those systems. And so being able to be like, so by the way, here's all the thought that's gone into this, people tend to be like, whoa, okay. And that's kind of fun.
right,
But like
Yeah.
for a lot of
and
games, it's the tech level of technicality that you have to get into is just kind of unapproachable, or
right.
um not really relevant. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a level of balance to it, definitely. Like Jay Hobbs, when he did the first Insomniac Spider-Man run, he made the conscious decision of, hey, like these gadgets, like these tools that Spider-Man has, are really important for what we're going to do. And this run will make no sense if you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So he went out of his way to explain what they were before the run started, and
Yeah, that's always good to kind of
that's
front load.
become a tradition for
Yeah.
marathon runs of that game at this point, because it's like, yeah, you need this level of base understanding, or
Hmm.
else all of this is going to go way over your head, because this game is really fast and we're switching between everything, and it's just not going to make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, that's what we do with Hat in Time. It's like, all right, the first 3 minutes, we're going to front load you with a ton of movement knowledge, and then we're going to be using it throughout the rest of the run. So at least you have
Yeah.
an idea of what to expect and what you're looking at.
Yeah, there's a balance to be sure, and I think it depends on the run, and what runs warrant that type of depth and conversation, what runs. No, I just feel like if you can explain something in a simpler way, like I think you should always try to explain it in the simplest way possible
Yeah,
whenever
for sure.
possible, and those who are interested afterwards can figure out the more in-depth things. If they come watch like your stream later on, or they watch your PB or something like that.
I mostly agree with one caveat, and that is explaining something complicated extremely quickly as a bit and then asking if everybody's got that okay good is fun, and I do it a lot.
That is a
Fair.
good bit.
But yes, most games you don't act. I've never personally been a huge fan of the hyper technical commentary because, like,
Yeah.
there are some people who do it very well, but for the most part, I feel like it is like I don't watch marathons for a tutorial.
Mhm.
Right.
Like a lot of, and everyone's different, but like a lot of the enjoyment of GDQ for me is people's interactions with their couches and like it's the same energy of like you and your friends playing a game in your basement when you were kids, but now they got really good at it. Oh my goodness. um, which part of why I am a notorious an infamous disliker of solo commentary is because I think that pretty much almost every run I've ever seen is improved, I think, or could even so like what runs that didn't have another person could have been improved by somebody else to bounce things off of, or at the very least somebody else to like keep add a little bit of contrast and keep things paced a bit better. Because in my experience watching solo commentators, they tend to kind of just go on and on and on without a lot of gaps.
Yeah, and
I
if you're
tangented really hard there. Sorry.
no, and if you're good at solo commentary, if you're good at like the complex, intricate, like detailed commentary, like those are valid styles of things to do. That's fine. I just think that's an example of some people underestimating how complex the whole marathon like context is and how to
Exactly.
put these runs together. Because to me, it's less the speed run and more the entertainer bit because you're balancing. I need to be like good enough at the run. Like I
Right.
can't put the run too far off schedule, ideally. And ideally, to be at a GDQ, you're usually like a top 5 runner of your game. That's just who they usually accept. So you need to be a certain skill level to get there, and then you need to surround yourself, either be the entertainer or surround yourself with people who can be entertaining or create a dynamic for the entertainment. And anytime, again, it's the donation drive aspect. You want people to be donating, and if a bit takes over your run, like you should lead into the bit taking over your run.
Yes, I
Be
agree.
a
My
meme if all else fails.
Yep, like airboats took over my miles run. Like great, wonderful. Like J. Jonah Jameson's memes took over my Peter run in 21, and they were amazing, and they became a meme throughout that whole week. And I'm like, great, wonderful, like that. That means people are engaged, and this is memorable, and people are donating. And like,
Yeah.
that's what you're there for. Because bottom line is like and the bottom line is, you'd have to play like unbelievably horribly for anyone to care that much about like how
Yeah.
well you play.
Right.
Because remember at the last RPG limit break, I was running Birth by Sleep, and my run was like right over estimate. My estimate was like a 305. The final run was like a 305, like 40 something. So something along those lines. And I got zero comments whatsoever you know about like the run going over or me playing poorly or anything like that, because the run was entertaining for those 3 hours, and I put and the speed running was good, and ultimately that's what people care about, because 90% of people watching, they've never seen a speed run of this game before. They don't know what a world record looks like. They don't see the tiny mistakes you're making like in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
you
was
know
gonna say, for the average person, a bad speed run is still the best they've seen that game played.
Right.
right.
And I agree. I think the worst thing you can do on commentary as a runner while commentating is to become negative about your run,
Yeah.
because
100%.
the moment that energy gets into the stream, it is like poison.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched marathon runs where the runners constantly just like, oh, I lost 2 seconds there. It's like, who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Like,
It's
you
Yeah.
fine. We're
care,
not. This
sure.
isn't a world record attempt.
Yeah, the audience doesn't care. They don't even know that you lost the time.
Like now
Like,
they do because you brought it up.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like my number one pet peeve for marathon
Yeah.
runs is
Same.
people
I
actively being
agree.
aware of
Yeah.
like and commenting on like, oh, that was bad, or like that lost 2 seconds. It's like,
Like you
whatever.
can do it if you're doing it in a more like fun way. If you're
Right.
like, yeah, so
Yeah.
that was bad. I lost like 10 seconds there. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
there
as
are
long as
playful ways to do such
yes,
things. Like, I think one of the most fun things you can do is just riff on horrible RNG throughout a marathon
yes,
run.
I
For
agree.
being like, this is the most horrible, miserable. How the heck am I even going to do this? Like, because it's funny and it's engaging. Like, the average person's like, oh, they haven't prepared for this type of thing before. They're not used to this. How are they? It makes it more impressive when you are able to hold it together and make it to the
Right.
end.
Yeah.
A quote I think about a lot for marathon runs is at the start of Amoeba's Emerald Run. I believe that was at not AGDQ 2022. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said like the best possible case for you, the viewer, is for everything to go wrong because that'll be much more entertaining.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
Hobbs always says for Kingdom Hearts runs, and he said it during my Spider-Man run, that for like those ultra difficulty runs, you really want at least one death in
Yeah.
every marathon run because you want the viewers to see, oh wait, he's one hit away from death this entire
Yeah,
time.
right. This isn't
Wow,
free.
this is really impressive. Like if you blaze through all of it, it's still really impressive, but to the average GDQ viewer, it's almost more so if they see you die once or twice. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, crap, okay, this is
Yeah.
nuts.
You get like an appreciation for the actual difficulty of it.
Yeah. And it's also like watching people recover, like being able to recover is like also impressive.
Yeah.
Especially like in a lot of RPGs, you see like something go wrong, and then like the runner in their couch like frantically trying to be like, okay, if we grab this, that should work, and just kind of showing off their general knowledge of the game, and that's also impressive. So even if
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
do go badly, like you can still recover it in a way that is like, I'm gonna turn this into a plus instead of like
Right.
I'm gonna be a downer.
And to me, that's kind of the type of speed runs I've always been drawn to. Is the runs that instead of being perfectly mapped out, have a good amount of improv, a good amount of well, crap. I need to figure out how I'm dealing with this because this
Mhm.
isn't how we wanted that to go. And because there's something enjoyable, I think, from the running aspect too. Of I know sort of what I want to do, but I know the game's not going to let me do it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to bridge that gap with skill and knowledge and like some ability to improv on the spot. And now I think it's engaging for the runner as well as the viewer.
Hi, this is Post Production May, the May that gets added in after the fact. Did you know we have a Patreon? If you're already a Patreon subscriber, this message isn't for you. Thank you, we love you, you can tune out for this part. But if you're not, for only $3 a month, you can get access to episodes early and get a bonus episode at least once per month. The bonus episodes are like different from the regular episodes. They're a lot more unhinged, which is kind of saying something. You get access to all the ones we've already done, even if you subscribe now, so that's cool. We don't want to have to run ads during this program, because ads suck, and supporting us via the Patreon helps us not have to do that. You can check it out at patreon.com/dearpbpod if you're interested and can afford to do so. You're already supporting us by listening to the show and telling others about it, so this is kind of like a bonus thing you could do if you really like it. Okay, cool, I'm done, bye. Yeah, I agree with that. If you're listening and you're like, how can I do commentary in a way that makes production love me? I have 3 pieces of advice for you. Well, 4, but 2 of them are like the same thing. 1, start the run and start the run quickly and sign off quickly. Don't just vamp for 3 minutes. That's the easiest way to get production to hate you. 2, especially if your run is super long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to remember the other 2. 2 is call for the host, like acknowledge the existence of the host.
Yeah. Hosts do exist.
Hosts do exist, and it's easier for everyone if the runner like works the host in instead of the host having to interrupt, because if the host has to interrupt, it's just a little bit more awkward.
Yeah.
And sometimes their host isn't very good at interrupting, which is a problem.
Yeah.
And 3, if you could find some sort of way to get chat to donate memes, it always works so well.
Mm-hmm.
Audience involvement is surprisingly extremely effective.
It turns out, who could have foreseen?
Who could have thunk?
Some people came up with some pretty good alternate Spider-Mans during the Miles run.
Now, like I said, my last two GDQ runs got overtaken with memes, and honestly, they were way better for it. Both of them.
Yeah, that's
Like
the way to do it.
I agree.
that's. I mean,
Not
yeah.
biased, by the way.
No, not biased, but yeah, I said, I just think it's easy as a speedrunner, I think. Like, if you're a speedrunner and you've been speedrunning for, like, 5+ years, whatever, you've been doing it for a while, you've been honing your skill over the years, playing, like, the same game over and over, it's easy, I think, to, like, idolize a couple of these marathons. Like, oh, this is my chance to, like, show off my skill and get a bunch of new viewers and, and all that fun jazz. And that stuff can happen, obviously, and like you should be proud of your skill, and you should be wanting to show off your game and everything your community found and everything like that. But it's easy to get swept up in that and forget, the point of what these events have been doing that makes them so successful, and why you might have been swept up in it to begin with, which is that they are entertainment factors.
Mhm.
They're donation drivers. Like, there are multiple hats going on here, and you kind of have to find a way to go a little more in that direction, I think, if you want to have a successful, like, entertaining run. Because if it and then when you go off the marathon, you can go do whatever the heck you want. That's but it's just a different environment. There are different rules that apply, I feel.
I agree. At the end of the day, it's like it's an entertainment product, right?
Mm.
And you can make arguments about like you could sort of like make theoretical arguments about like what it should be and like a very hypothetical pure way, like, oh, it should be about the speed running first and then the charity is like, then that leads to the charity. But at the end of the day, it's like the ones that do the best are the ones that people liked watching.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, if you want a model of how to balance it correctly, the Fashion Police Squad
They were
run
so good.
was probably the best GDQ run I've seen. Honestly,
It was so good.
because that was a perfect balance of this guy is very good at the video game, and everything going on is wildly entertaining.
Yeah. I like I have run that game and I haven't done it in a while, and so I was not aware of all the new strategies. And so I was just sitting on the couch in my hotel room being like, "What? You could do that now? Oh my god, that's so much better. Oh, that sucks. I don't want to do that. Oh my god, that saves so much." Yeah, just over and over and over again because I had not seen any of the new stuff.
Yep.
I was glued to that run. It was so good.
It's so very good. And bottom line, like, if you've been speedrunning for however long, like, if you're a good enough speedrunner that you ended up in a GDQ run, like, your skill is going to speak for itself as long as you're
Yes.
not being negative about it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
I agree with that.
like, people are it's going to be self-evident in, even in, like, whatever you do. Like, if you're showing off a bunch of glitches, it's going to be self-evident how well you know and execute, like, those glitches. If it's like a platformer, like, that just blows my mind that anyone can play platformers well to begin with.
Yeah, so true. Imagine.
Like, honestly.
Imagine.
And like, the skill is going to come through, like, one way or the other, as long as you're not negatively highlighting, oh, here's the million ways that I did this better in my PB or
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
Like, it's going to be self-evident to anyone. You put a lot of time and effort into this, and the community put a lot of time and effort into this. And I think your efforts are better spent letting that part of it speak for itself and focusing more on how do I highlight the community and how do I be entertaining and how do I, like, help get money for charity and lean into memes, and because that's where those are the runs people end up remembering. I feel the run itself is self-evident and they're able to really rope in the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if that is a deal breaker for you as a runner, And you were like, no, the run needs to come first. There are a gajillion marathons.
Yeah, really.
And
Right.
so, like, I think you just have to accept the fact that GDQ is like is a very large thing, and like the charity part, the speedrun part, and the charity part of GDQ just don't exist in a vacuum. The better the better the marathon does charity wise, the more that they're able to, the more stuff they're able to do, the more they're able to promote people, things like that. And so, like, I don't get me wrong, I have my problems with GDQ, but it's not that one.
Yeah,
That's
I
another
think
episode.
I think there are problems to be had with GDQ, but I think being upset that it's raising millions for charity is a weird hill to die
Yes.
on.
Yeah, it's like, well, GDQ raised 2.5 million, but I didn't get 1 million followers, so this is their problem.
Or like GDQ raised 2.5 million, but the hosts were just talking the whole time, and they weren't even commentating the runs at all. And I'm like,
yeah.
there were
How do
so many
you
good
think
runs
they
this
raised
event.
2.5 million?
Also, yes. Also, quick plug: if you want to hear our podcast where we talk about all of our problems with GDQ, check out our bonus episode. Spoos and May break their NDAs.
Yeah.
That's a great title.
Wait.
That is not going to be a real episode.
Hang on.
That is not going to be a real episode. This is not real.
Moving on.
This was a bit. Moving on. Please don't sue us. Maddie, I'm sorry. Well, I don't know if I have that much to move on to, honestly.
How about that Summer Games done quick?
I was going to ask you. Well, we can do that. I was going to ask you about your favorite run, and then you said it. So I was like, well, darn.
What was your second favorite run?
Oh, goodness. What was my second favorite run? Oh, boy. Probably the Symphony of the Night run for me, I think.
Fair enough. Mine was Love 3.
And
that one was very impressive and very quick.
I need to watch a lot of VODs because I had to work most of the week.
Very fair.
I'm a big fan. I did not watch any GDQ. I'm sorry.
I watched a lot of them that I was on shift for.
Yeah, but like a couple of the highlights I did end up seeing, like some of like the Symphony of the Night run was great. The Mario Galaxy run was great. Ninja Turtles was fun. Pokemon Arceus was a lot of fun.
The Pokemon Arceus, that couch was cringe. Don't watch them.
Yeah, I don't think I want to.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, SGDQ was really early this time. Thoughts?
Yeah, definitely surprised.
I was also surprised.
Probably will be going, question mark.
I'll be there.
I'll probably be there.
I'll be there. Unless I get, like, sick.
Don't do that.
And then hopefully the panel room is back so we can do a goddamn live show.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
That would be fun. I just want to do Think Fast live.
Yeah, because all of our hotfix shows are pre-recorded.
That is true.
You gotta have the full Family Feud set up for the Think Fast, right?
Oh boy.
Yes, please give us $1 million. Get us done quick for our trivia show.
We need budget.
We need budget. We need to become syndicated on cable.
True. Put us on Game Show Network.
That's a good investment in 2023. Is to syndicate us on cable.
Look, Jeopardy's popular. Why not another quiz show with probably about as hard questions?
I think Jeopardy's probably easier than our questions.
Sometimes, yeah.
But the difference is that we give you more chances.
Exactly. Imagine if Jeopardy gave you like 30 chances. It was like, oh, well, you're close.
Yeah, thanks for bringing out the really hard questions during the GDQ run, by the way. That was great.
That was not even that hard on the grand scheme of Think Fast questions. Those would have been like erroneously labeled as medium.
I'm so screwed.
We need to also have the Think Fast Awards where we vote on our most difficult question.
Which ones are all right, hold on. Let me filter.
What do we have labeled as medium that I wrote?
What do we have labeled? What geography questions are labeled as medium?
All right, look.
What typography lessons?
What font does GDQ use? Oh, only the producers know that.
No, you could figure it out.
Everyone
I knew it.
looks at because you've worked with it before.
The PAX Prime 2012 Kirby World Record one was very hard, apparently.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh, yeah,
only
you don't-
Pokemon that loses immunity to a type when inflicted with a certain status effect.
That one was answered correctly
That's
after a little while.
That's because they're gamers.
It's true.
The oldest continuously operating higher learning institution in the world, according to UNESCO.
Is that the one that we gave them the answer to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a different one.
No, it was.
4 Pokemon arcade games released exclusively in Japan that have the player collect small chips or tags for their party.
I only knew that because I played one of the games once, and I expected at least someone to know one of them, and I was disappointed.
All right, I think I'm going to say the hardest one is probably a patch note from a 2019 Hat and Time update reads, fixed rare sticker
That one's
drops forcing a
impossible.
return to spaceship when it shouldn't. Sorry, Pat. What game did Pat play on his stream after soft locking due to this bug?
How do you not know this? That's so easy. You're not a Pat plays games follower, obviously.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone,
that one was like impossible.
Like, I guess you expected everyone to be that question. Oh my! Like,
Yeah, that one.
I will also
that was rough.
honorable mention to Octopath Traveler was released July 13th, 2018. What other games were released on a major console that day?
What's the answer?
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and Earthfall.
Oh, of course.
That is a terrible question.
That's a really bad question.
We didn't rate the question, that's why. But yeah, if you want to see more difficult questions like that, watch Think Fast every other Saturday on GDQ Hotfix.
Yeah. In fact, you might see the guest here right now on that show. Not this weekend, but perhaps
within
2
the next
weekends after.
Within the next 2 months, maybe.
Yeah, if those GDQ questions were any indication, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta figure out what the other question
I'm
topic's gonna
so
be too.
screwed.
I've not thought about it yet.
It's
Wait, no,
gonna
I
be
did
about,
think about it.
It's going
Besides
to be
the
about
fact
spiders and men.
of spiders and men.
Of spiders,
yep, my favorite book.
I loved when Lenny just had like a handful of spiders.
Tell them about the spiders.
My
They're everywhere.
Favorite part is when Lenny said it's spiders time, and then spider all.
Me too.
Now I'm picturing Of Mice and Men where Lenny goes, "It's mice in time." Okay, Pass, where can people find you?
It's like at Pessilist Twitter, Pessilist on Twitch, Pessilist on YouTube. If I ever upload anything, but yeah, mostly on Twitch. If you want to watch some Spider-Man, some Kingdom Hearts, and probably a lot of random crap, because I want to learn a lot of random crap. Sure, come on down.
When is Spider-Man going to be in Kingdom Hearts?
That is a good question.
I mean,
it could.
Is
maybe
it could.
It's no. Yeah,
Spider-Man is Marvel, but the movie
like
rights are weird. But I don't know how that works. But with games, though, it should be fine.
Disney
property
has
is very
the game.
weird.
Disney has the game rights for Marvel. I can tell you, Disney definitely owns the Spider-Man games. I'm very positive about that.
Let Riku and Peter Parker kiss. Okay.
True.
If you like our show, you should check us out on. You should follow us on Twitter and co-host. That is twitter.com/DearPBpod and cohost.org/DearPB. We also have a Patreon. You heard the ad for it earlier. If you give us money, then you get stuff. That's the deal. That's how trade works.
Goods and services.
You get you get the episodes early if Seuss edits them early, and you also get bonus episodes. You also get bonus episodes. I think we owe one right now.
Yeah, probably.
We're behind. It's been a really busy month.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to be a really busy month. We apologize.
It's a busy year. 2023 is our year.
My New Year's resolution for 2023 is to fall behind on all of my projects, and I'm crushing it right now.
Killing it.
Yeah, same.
we officially recommend watching this or listening to this podcast now on a podcast app and less so on YouTube, specifically
Yeah.
because there's no longer a video portion. So if you were a podcast listener and you were like, I love listening to it on my podcast app, but I'm really sad that I don't get the video. Guess what? No one does now. We've leveled the playing field. Everyone's in your boat now. You were ahead of the trend. But yeah, and that does it for us this week. Check out Think Fast every other Saturday, only on the GDQ Hotfix, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's the order of words I wanted to say. Check out Pess on all sorts of social media places, and check out that Miles run from AGDQ. It was very fun. And Pess, you know what we say at the end of every episode, right?
Nope.
Confident.
Don't be racist.
Bye.
Bye.